safeties, reps showing up in the Kansas game to hold that team to 14 points?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, I think hats off to the offense. They did a great job running the football, controlling the time of possession and keeping us off the field. Second thing is I thought our guys played really hard, played really well in the first half, let a couple plays get out in the second. They created a little bit longer drives, but overall I thought our guys played, really hard, and we got a key turnover, which I've said, every time I've been up here is the key to this whole thing. You got to get the ball back, and we're able to get one there in the red zone.
With your unique perspective, being in this business for so long, and as a head coach too, you've had seasons where you hardly lose a game. You've had seasons where it's hard to win a game.
Mm-hmm.
What's the rewarding aspect of a team that goes through what Coach Campbell always says, hard this season? You start 5-0, you lose 4 in a row,
Yeah.
a number that you could have gotten probably, and you just keep pushing. You get a lot of guys contributing.
Well, and I think it says a lot about, first of all, leadership, starting with Coach Campbell, and then our seniors, obviously, that group, and then the leadership core that's within our team. I think the injuries, the things that have happened the past two years on our side of the ball, have kind of been crazy. I've not been through any of that in 43 years, so the last 2 years have been first for me. But nothing's ever wavered here. I think the next man up concept, nobody ever woe is me or any of that kind of thing. It's always been, how are we all going to do a little bit more to solve the problem? Everybody here seems to always look for solutions instead of whining and complaining. And, that's what I appreciate about this place and this building and Coach Campbell and his leadership.
That's a sweet hoodie, Coach. Did the linebackers hook you up with that?
They did. I think that's the only group that likes me. You know what I mean? So, yeah, they did actually. Yeah.
About Oklahoma State, just from the games I've watched, they kind of empty out the bag of tricks sometimes. Is that something you have to be extra aware of this game?
Yeah, I always, I say this, the guys in the staff room always say that trick plays are only trick plays if you don't do your job. And, in my years, whenever guys have been where they're supposed to be and, they stay on the backside of plays when they're supposed to, and they're on the front side when they're supposed to be, and they're in their thirds when they're supposed to be, they aren't really trick plays. You cover them like a normal play. So we do look at them. We talk about them. We rep them for sure, make cut up of them, all those kind of things. But I think the extra emphasis for us on defense is always just to make sure you're doing your job. You can't get lazy, because if you do and your eyes start to wander and, those kind of things, then it's a problem.
Has Marcus Neal's value for your defense and importance grown at all this season after, he's one of the more experienced guys left?
Yeah, he is one of the guys that has more experience, but he's grown just because he's grown. His what he's been able to do week after week after week, he just keeps getting better, and he's got a long way to go. He's a young guy, and I give him a lot of props. I think he's just worked himself into being a good player, and I think at some point in time, and there are great plays out there, but at some point in time, he's going to make every single play great here, and he's working towards that, and I'm really proud of him. I think he's just done a great job, and he all of a sudden used to have some guys beside him that kind of knew everything and all that, and kind of helped him, and I think now it's forced him into growing up a little bit, and he had to learn a lot and figure it all out and help everybody else, and so I think it's really been a benefit for him, to be honest.
And I guess one more on Marcus. He's about as violent of a player as I can remember watching.
He is.
Does that even stand out among college football players?
Yeah, he's very violent, plays very fast, plays downhill all the time, doesn't have, everybody says he's got a second gear. He has one gear, and it's full speed, and it's pedal to the floor. So he's very violent, and again, he's now using it in some great ways. He's gotten better at how to do it, and I think that's what's made him really having a really good season for us.
With all of the defensive backs kind of rotating in and out and being hurt, how have offenses attacked you guys differently? What have you noticed in that, and how have maybe you had to adjust what you want to do against that?
Yeah, we've had to do a lot of different things, and you probably see it on Saturdays. We're constantly evolving every week with who's healthy enough to play. And I think it's probably been good for us. I think it's evolved us a little bit. We changed around, and we were doing it early in the year. We did it obviously at Ireland, played 4 down and 4-2-5 and 3-3-5 and 3-4. We did all that in that game, and I think it now is coming back around to we're doing some more of that stuff. Trying to find some better ways to fit runs and where to get support people and all those kind of things. So it's really forced us to go back to work. Our staff's done a good job. Our players have done a great job of working at it and studying it, during the days. And we've had to, kind of change as we've gone along, but we're also kind of back to where we were when we started. We did a lot of the stuff that we're doing now. And then as season gets going, you kind of pare down, and then all of a sudden now we're pared back up again.
Coach, as a coaching staff, what has impressed you the most from this defense? You have a bunch of injuries early in the year, and now going into the end of the season, what has impressed you the most with the growth of this team?
Yeah, I think just that. I think being able to stick to it, and not woe is us and here we go again and all those kind of things. It's never been that here. It's always been, how are we all going to do a little bit more, to make this whole thing, again, find the answers to solutions. And, again, part of our solution Saturday was our offense. I thought our guys did a great job of controlling the football, controlling the game. We were able to get some stops early, and that was critical in the game and to get some momentum going. So I just think their attitude, this whole building, as, I've said it before, I come in this building and every time things don't go as you want them to, I've been places where it's not always like this, but when you come in here, if things don't go the way you want on Saturday, everybody here thinks it's their fault. And that's a pretty cool feeling, to walk in here on a Sunday and everybody is taking responsibility for what happened. And I mean everybody. And that's a cool place to work, and it's a cool place to coach.
Earlier you talked about how all the injuries at defensive back and linebacker a year ago were something that you'd never experienced in 43 years. If you guys went on Saturday, you will have gone, 5 wins, 4 losses, 3 wins. You ever been a part of a season so streaky?
Oh, probably, to be honest. Somewhere along the line, probably have been. When you've done it, this long, it's probably the case. But again, some of the circumstances are what they are, and so you do the best you can at the time, and you just keep working yourself through it. And really proud of our guys. But I don't know. I'd have to think back, but I would guess that I have been at some point for sure.
And through those moments of up and down and now up again, is that where it's exemplified the importance of being the same every single day in your guys' facility?
Yeah, I think the results may be doing this, but I don't think this building's ever done that. I don't think the building has ever been up and down. I think the building has always been trying to climb, and get ourselves going in the right direction. Results get like that sometimes, and I think the longer you stay in a result, whether it's a win or a loss, the harder it is for you to get out of it. If you stay in a win too long and you're into it, hey, we won on Saturday and you're still into it on Wednesday or the next Saturday, you're in trouble. Same with a loss. And I think the advantage for us has been able to continue to just keep climbing and trying to find solutions to get one more point than the other team.